Hello everyone, welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Monday, February 15th. We're going to be talking about some NBA DFS picks for both Draft Kings and FanDuel today. But before we get started, we'll look at yesterday's results. So we had Monty Morris as the point guard over on Draft Kings, $4,200. He had 21.25 points. He was a hit. Looking for a little bit more out of him, but Jamal Murray ended up playing, so that hurt him just a little bit. But he did return that 5 times value. Dwayne Bacon, $4,800. 24.5. He was a hit as well, just over that 5 times value as well. And then we had DeMar DeRozan, $8,000. We're looking for about 40 points out of him. We got 28, so that one was a miss. He honestly didn't take many shots in this game, more of a facilitator than anything, so that kind of hurt him overall. Pascal Siakam, $7,900. Looking for about 40 fantasy points out of him. He got 42, so he was a hit as well. Isaiah Stewart, I had down for our center position, $3,600. Looking for 18 points out of him. I thought Mason Plumlee might miss again. Instead, Mason Plumlee actually ended up starting, and he, oddly enough, had a triple-double. I believe 17 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. So that hurt Isaiah Stewart a little bit as well. Got in some foul trouble, even playing off the bench, but he's real close to that price range anyway, so he probably didn't kill your lineup if you played him. If you were going later on in the day, you could switch off to a JaVale McGee for save about $500 there, and definitely got you a little bump up in points as well. Then over on the FanDuel side, we have Michael Carter-Williams at point guard, $4,400, looking for about 22 fantasy points out of him. It wasn't as good for him yesterday, 20.4 fantasy points. Not bad, probably didn't kill you if you did end up playing him though. Devin Booker, like I said, I just kept running into him at that shooting guard position. $7,800, looking for 39 fantasy points out of him. He got you 40.8, so he was a hit. Michael Porter Jr., thought he'd be doing a little bit better without Will Barton. Thought Jamal Murray might not play as well. They kind of got ahead in this game too, so that might have hurt him just a little bit. $5,800, we're looking for 29 fantasy points out of him. He only got 18.1, so he was a miss. Then power forward, I had Blake Griffin. He ended up sitting out, so he didn't play, so he was a miss. Kind of my pivot off of him was Miles Bridges. He didn't play the best either, though, so double miss there if you want to count it that way. Then Cody Zeller, $5,100. 29.4 fantasy points. We're looking for about 26 out of him, so he was definitely a hit. So overall, a hit or miss day. But the misses, they really weren't too big except the Blake Griffin one. But we knew that ahead of time, so you could obviously pivot to someone else. But with that being said, we're going to look over at the injury page real quick for today. So on the Bulls side, looks like the same as we've been seeing. Wendell Carter Jr. still has a game time decision. I doubt he plays. For the Pacers side, the same essentially. Doug McDermott, he does have a sore knee. He's a guy I do like today if he plays, and I think he does end up playing. For the Rockets, still got Victor Oladipo out, Christian Wood out, Donnie Exum's been out for a while. The Wizards, we got Ish Smith out. Anthony Gill's a game time decision. Russell Westbrook, game time decision. But I assume he sits out due to rest on the back-to-back, so that kind of helps, Raul Neto and Bradley Beal out a little bit as well. The Hawks are pretty much the same as we've been seeing. The Knicks are the same. Mitchell Robinson's still going to be out with that fractured hand for a while. The 76ers, Shake Milton's out. Joel Embiid is questionable. I think there's a chance he doesn't play in this one. If he doesn't play, you're looking at Dwight Howard, Tony Bradley as good values. Tobias Harris probably gets a boost as well. So he's somebody I would definitely consider, especially at his price tag. It's not too bad overall. Utah side, we're still looking at Mike Conley being out. For the Cavaliers, pretty much the same guys. Andre Drummond's out. Essentially, the Cavaliers have just said that they're not going to play him anymore. So everybody kind of assumes it's going to be a trade. Definitely helps out Jared Allen, JaVale McGee on both sites. And then Golden State, Draymond's game time decision, questionable, but he should be good to go. Did play after he got hurt in the last game. Then the Miami Heat, exactly the same as we've been seeing. The Clippers, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both game time decisions. Right now they have let Kawhi in and George out, but just keep an eye out on both these guys. If they both don't play, Lou Williams is definitely in play in that case. He's been really hot lately. Then for the Nets, we got Kevin Durant out with a hamstring injury. DeAndre Jordan should be back after his personal matters. Keep an eye on that, see if he's back or not. If he's not back, that probably gives Jeff Green a little bit more boost. James Harden, Kyrie Irving definitely in play without Kevin Durant today. Bruce Brown's in play if he does end up starting as well. Then the Sacramento Kings, I assume De'Aaron Fox is going to be good since he did play about 30 minutes last night. Marvin Bagley missed once again. He's kind of questionable. I probably wouldn't try to play him anyways because his minutes have been down and now he's banged up. But with that being said, that's a brief rundown on all the injuries for today. As always, make sure you guys are watching the news throughout the day. I will be posting updates as they come out. If you would follow my channel yesterday, you saw Gordon Hayward come out. You saw Marvin Bagley. You've seen Kawhi Leonard. There was a lot of updates, so just stay tuned for that. We're going to move over to the DraftKings side, go with my picks from today over there. So on DraftKings, we got Kyrie Irving, $9,000. You're looking for about 45 fantasy points out of him, averaging 46. No Kevin Durant, definitely gives him a boost up. Goes against the Kings today, which is a pretty good matchup for him. Kings are not a very good defensive team. This should be a high-scoring game. Then we got Bradley Beal, $8,900, and this is a crazy price for Bradley Beal if Russell Westbrook does not play. Goes against Houston, so it's a pretty good matchup as well. Then we talked about him a little bit earlier with the injuries. Doug McDermott, if he does end up playing, I do like him against the Bulls. $4,900, looking for about 25 fantasy points out of him. He's been getting over 30 minutes a game recently, so definitely a guy that's out there. The last game that he played, he was very, very hot. This is a revenge game for him against the Chicago Bulls. I don't take too much into narrative with that most of the time, but he seems like a guy that could probably do better against this Bulls team anyways. And then I got Cedi Osman down. $3,300 is a crazy, crazy value for him, especially if Andre Drummond is not going to be playing at all. He's going to get more minutes. You're going to see some volume there. Coming off the bench, probably. He could end up in the starting lineup alongside Jared Allen as well if they decide Taurean Prince is not the guy that they want to roll with. But, $3,300, you're really only looking for him to get about 17, 18 fantasy points. I think he can get you 20 rather easily. And, if they're getting blown out, he probably ends up getting some blowout run as well. Definitely won't hurt him against Golden State. Then we got JaVale McGee, $3,100. We saw what he could do last night at $3,100. Same price today. Looking for 16 fantasy points out of him. Probably gets you closer to 20. He's a good fantasy point per minute producer, so that's definitely something that's going to help him out. Saw about 16 minutes last night. Maybe he gets up to 18 today. I think he's a guy that you can feel pretty safe playing. If they do get in a blowout, he probably plays a little bit of blowout run as well. And if you're into that whole revenge game narrative, this is another revenge game for JaVale McGee. But with that being said, these are my picks for DraftKings. If you go with these 5 guys, you have $20,800 left over. Just under $7,000 per player. You can definitely spend up for another guy. Like, you could probably even go with James Harden here with Kyrie Irving, with Bradley Beal. That gives you a lot of firepower. There's not a whole lot of value out there right now, but there should be some more that comes out during the day. But with that being said, we're going to move over to FanDuel, talk about my 5 picks over there as well. On the FanDuel side, we got Raul Neto, $3,700 here. He's a little bit more attractive on FanDuel than DraftKings. So this is assuming Russell Westbrook doesn't play. If Neto is out there, if he gets 28 minutes, I think he gets you 20 fantasy points rather easily. At this price, you're only really looking for him to get you about 18 or 19. So he's definitely a value there. One of the better values probably on FanDuel so far. On DraftKings, he's $4,600, so he's not really going to pay off quite as well over there. As shooting guard, we have James Harden, $10,600. You're looking for 53 fantasy points out of him. He's averaging 50 on the year. Should see a bump up in value without Kevin Durant. He also is playing against that same Kings team that's not very good on defense. And I think it's just going to be a very, very good day for Harden. If you have the ability to play him, I think you're better off playing him than not playing him. It's going to be one of those days where you're probably going to need James Harden in your lineup if you want to have one of those lineups near the top of your GPP contest. And he's definitely a solid play for cash games once again. Then, at small forward, I got Garrett Temple, $4,200. You're looking for about 21 fantasy points out of him. He's playing about 30 minutes a game the last couple games. If he's getting that once again, I think he's definitely going to pay off for his price tag. Definitely a value so far today. Like I said, as always, there's going to be different values that open out throughout the day as well. Power forward, probably my favorite pay-up option at power forward is going to be Julius Randle, $8,600. Goes against the Hawks in this one. It's a little bit of a pace-up spot as well. Going against John Collins is not really a matchup I'm too afraid of overall. But it's just a guy that I really like on today's slate. I don't like paying up as much for like Sabonis. I think Bam is fine in that range as well. There's definitely a lot of paydown options at the power forward. You could consider JaVale McGee, Nerlens Noel, Tony Bradley if he ends up starting for Joel Embiid. And then at center. Center's kind of yucky today, honestly. Joel Embiid way up at the top. Then you have Rudy Gobert, then Clint Capella, Miles Turner. Then you get down to the DeMarcus Cousins, the Thaddeus Youngs of the world. And then you get way down there. I think Dwight Howard's a decent option if he does end up starting, if Joel Embiid doesn't play. But Clint Capella is probably my favorite value so far today. Goes against New Orleans Noel. Not too afraid of that matchup. It's a game that I think Clint Capella could probably do really well in. You're looking for about 39 fantasy points out of him. I think he probably can get you 40 rather easily in this matchup. But with that being said, these are my 5 guys for FanDuel for today. If you go with these 5 guys, you have $25,100 left over. Just about $6,300 per player. Find some value picks as they open up throughout the day. Find some decent players here and there. Overall, you'll have a pretty solid lineup for the FanDuel side. But with that being said, these are my picks for both DraftKings and FanDuel. As always, if you guys have any questions regarding NBA DFS, please do not hesitate to ask me. Feel free to leave your questions down in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them throughout the day for each and every one of you. But with that being said, once again, just make sure you're watching the comments. We'll be posting all the news that comes out throughout the day down there, as well as the starting lineups for each team. But with that being said, if you guys are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, and that's really one for you, the viewers, helping you guys with your NBA DFS, helping you with fantasy football, covering all of the football news this offseason. And as we move forward into baseball season, we'll be covering some fantasy baseball and some baseball news as well. But with that being said, if you are new or current subscribers yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. And with that being said, every day this week we're going to have the NBA DFS videos. Going to be doing some bold prediction recap episodes for the fantasy football side as well. But with that being said, that's all I got for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Hopefully you guys do very well in NBA DFS today. If you have any questions, once again, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm here to help you guys out. I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.